Last but certainly not least tonight is Phillipe Cunningham. Phillipe Cunningham is now where Alyssa wants to be, right? On a seat on the city council, which is why we wanted to end tonight with a conversation with Phillipe. What can Alyssa kind of expect when she gets there? Phillipe Cunningham is a city council member in Minneapolis and is also the first open transgender man of color to win elected office in the history of the United States. Thank you, Phillipe, for joining us tonight. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I am hanging in there. Lots going on.
Listen, to be hanging in there, I mean, you're looking kind of fresh. Did you just come out of the shower or something? I mean...
I just wake up like this.
Well done, well done. I mean, you know, the coordinating jacket and it's got a little sheen to it. I mean, well done, you.
I mean, I have to step my game up. You're gorgeous, and so I had to make sure I was on point. So thank you.
Thank you. When you were on the Obama town hall where Representative John Lewis was on as well, may he rest in peace, you know, you looked very serious. You were in a suit and very buttoned up. So this is a different, you've got different notes.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us. So we could do this all night, but on to business.
Yes.
As you are, I want to talk to you about many things. Specifically, I want to get into a little bit for what can a person like Alyssa expect when they win city council office, and to talk more about, you know, what we teed up earlier, which is how you won your race. Like, what did you run on and how did you win? But because you represent Minneapolis and there have been so many changes there, I wanted to just get a sense from you of where you think your city is right now. And also, you've been really intent on trying to clear up a misconception about what everyone else calls defunding the police, and this idea that in Minneapolis, in response to the terrible murder of George Floyd, that, you know, the city has voted and that you and your colleagues voted to eliminate police and to do away with policing. So where's your city and what's that misconception?
Yeah, so first off, I'll just say that people sleep on Minneapolis as a progressive city. You know, the idea of, you know, it's surprising that Minneapolis beat New York in terms of having elected trans folks. Minnesota's a flyover state. You know, it's like folks go from coast to coast and they fly right over Minnesota and don't think of us as a space for such a liberal city. I just have to point out to folks, there are 2 out Black trans folks elected to office in the United States. Both of us were elected to the Minneapolis City Council at the same time. So I think that just really gives an idea of the political leanings of Minneapolis. You know, when I ran for office, I ran on a platform of building intergenerational prosperity and peace. So really focusing on how are we disrupting cycles of intergenerational poverty and violence, and had a very clear vision of how do we achieve that. I ran against a 20-year city council president incumbent whose mother held the seat before her for 24 years and was the city council president as well. And another family member held the seat before her for, I believe, 7 years. So I was definitely the underdog in the election, but I came with a clear vision. And because of ranked choice voting, which I know you all are rolling out in New York City, I was able to come fully authentically as myself. I was in no way shy about the fact that I'm trans, that I'm married to a man who is also trans, like all of those things. I was in my politics. I ran to do the work that I'm doing right now, which is to build new systems of public safety. And so I was able to say from the very beginning what I was going to be doing and how I was going to be showing up. And that's what I was elected to do. So to kind of clarify or explain a little bit, right now what we're really doing is focusing on reimagining public safety. So what that means is how are we unrooting public safety that has a history and presence in white supremacy, and instead is built on community justice and the public health approach to public safety, which is a clear framework. We're not starting from scratch. And so that is really, it's really nuanced. And, you know, a phrase like defund the police does not accurately capture the level of detail that goes into the work of reimagining public safety.
Right. What has been your experience after you got elected? You ran that race, you had a very clear, you were giving people a very clear idea of what they were getting when they voted for you issue-wise, which is just great for politicians to do overall. What has been your biggest surprise as you joined City Council? What's been your experience? How does transness intersect with that, if at all?
I mean, I exist as a trans person. And so therefore, you know, one of the things that I think that folks don't recognize about trans folks is that we have a true asset, having lived multiple lived experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So prior to transitioning, I know this is probably pretty surprising, but I was a high femme woman. And so I lived my life as a high femme Black woman. And then I transitioned and now live my life being perceived as a cis gay Black man. So I have multiple lived experiences of marginalization and oppression. So when I analyze policies, I'm doing it from multiple lived perspectives. That is an asset that is so deeply underappreciated about trans folks that we bring to the table. So that's how my transness shows up. As well as being intentional about bringing an intersectional analysis as well to public policy in the policymaking process. I would say that the thing that I have found the most surprising as a city council member has been the level, the scale. Now, I can't even imagine New York, so God bless y'all. The scale of both negative and positive input that comes from the work and being a public figure, which was I'm a nerd. I like the policy. I'm a wonk. So being used to being very public is a new experience for sure that takes some time to get used to.
Wow, yeah, it sounds, you know, if you're a nerd and you're a policy person beforehand, there may be a little bit of an introvert, so I can imagine it's a crush to be in the public eye all the time. Speaking of which, you know, I don't know how long you wish to have a political career. I hope that this is just the beginning, because for all the reasons that you said, it's really important for trans people to be a part of the political discourse. But I'm wondering, whenever you decide to exit politics, what do you think you want to be remembered for?
I love that question. I'll just say first, I have no idea what my political career looks like right now. I love the work that I do. In Minneapolis, we have a council strong system, which means that we are very unique in that we have a lot of power as city council members. And so right now I have the ability to implement policy, to be able to implement initiatives and various change efforts that I can see within a year actually impacting and bettering the lives of my neighbors. I wouldn't be able to do that as mayor. I wouldn't be able to do that on the state level or in Congress, like where I'm actually seeing the people that I love in my beloved community, actually their lives improve directly from the work that I'm doing. So I really love what I'm doing. And so we'll see. But what I want to be remembered for is the fact that I was able to actually lead from my position of power the actual change of building community wealth for the people who already live in our community. So in order for our community to become prosperous, we're not displacing Black and brown folks in order to be able to raise that income level, but the folks who actually live here are experiencing the prosperity, are experiencing the peace and safety of a whole neighborhood. We haven't really seen that done, if at all, in this country. And so that is my mission, is to ensure that the folks who benefit from me being able to access this power are the folks who are currently my neighbors, who have lived here for generations, and who have been left out and left behind historically.
Well, thank you so much for that vision and for your work and for your leadership. I think you've underscored why it's really important for trans people to run, because as you say, you actually have a different vision for how the world can work that's informed by your different experiences. And that's something that our country can benefit from. It's what democracy is all about. I know that we all wish you so much more continued success. Continued leadership. Look forward to everything that you're going to do. I'm so appreciative that you came on tonight. I know how much you have on your plate, and the fact that you came on looking fresh, I mean, that just adds to it. So thank you very much, Phillipe. I really appreciate it. I hope that we can have you back on sometime.
I would love that. Thank you so much for having me.